Hello Sudoku friends, welcome to an evil puzzle by websudoku.com. I'm recording this on the 25th of January 2024 and I will upload it and save it on YouTube to be published at a later date when I'm otherwise prohibited from uploading anything. That out of the way, let's look at these two fours blocking like so, giving me a 4 here, and these two fours now force a 4 to go either here or here. A 2 blocks down here and a 2 blocks down here. So here's a 2, which blocks across, this 2 blocks across, and this 2 blocks down. So a 2 has got to go here. We have 2 1s blocking like so, and this 1 blocks across. So a 1 must go here. There's a 2 and a 4 here and a 2 and a 4 here. So 2 of these 3 squares have got to be a 2 and a 4. There's a 3 blocking these squares and a 3 blocking down. One of these has got to be a 3. So now I will be on the lookout for 3s in one of these squares here. And meanwhile, we have an 8 blocking down here and across here. So here's an 8. And that naturally gives me an 8 here. Three blocks over and down. We took away this possible square for 3, so now the 3 is forced to go here. And a 1, 5, and a 9 for these squares. The 1 at least we can do because this 1 blocks across here, so here's a 1. 5 and 9 here. Therefore, a 4 and a 6 here. The 4 blocks down, giving me a 6 and a 4, like so. Here now, a 3, 7, and a 5. And here, of course, also a 3, 7, and a 5. All we can say is that a 3 goes here or here, and therefore this is a 5 or a 7. We can find an 8 for row 2, and we can find this because this 8 blocks here, this 8 blocks here, and this 8 blocks here. So the 8 has got to go here. Look at the 2, 4 here. Now look at the 2, 4 here. And now look at the 2, 4 here. So what does it tell us about a 2 and a 4 for this chute here, the left chute? It tells us that a 2 and a 4 must go in these 2 squares. And therefore, these squares cannot be a 2 and a 4. They must be a 6, 8, and a 7. The 8 blocks here and the 8 blocks here. This is a 2 or a 4. Therefore, the 8 goes here. And the 6 and the 7 must go in these 2 squares. Look at the 1, 6, 9 here. We need to find a 1, 6, and a 9 for 3 of these squares. Now look at the 1, 6, 9 here. That means that this cannot be a 1, 6, or a 9. So the 1, 6, and a 9s must go in these 3 squares. Can we use that for anything, or is it just a nice piece of logic that has no meaning? Well, for one thing, it tells us that a 2 blocks here, and this 2 blocks up here and here. So this must be a 2. And that automatically gives me a 2 here. Remember the 2, 4? Now this is a 4. And we now have 4s here and here. Before I forget it, we found this 2, which blocks across here, and we have this 2 blocking down and this 2 blocking up. So we might as well enter a 2 here and get it done with that. And looking for a 3, 6, and a 7 for these squares here. All that really tells us is that a 7 goes here or here. And this is a 3, 6. We have an 8 and a 9 blocking here, and we have an 8 and a 9 blocking here. So these two squares must be an 8 and a 9. And since this 7 blocks these two squares, we know that this is a 7. We need a 7, 3, and a 5 for these squares. 3 blocks across, 3 here or here, 7 here or here, 5, anybody's guess. And a 3, 5, 6 for these squares. So let's have another look at these two squares, because these are 8 and 9, so we know that these two in the horizontal must be a 6 and a 3. So we got a 5 here or here, and a 3 here or here. 6 I'm not so sure about, and the 4, as we mentioned earlier, goes here or here. 9 I don't even want to talk about, because I have no idea where that goes. It is worth noticing that since one of these must be a 7, because this 7 blocks down, one of these is a 7 blocking up, this 7 blocks up, one of these is a 7, that we are going to have a 7 either here or here. But what about the 5 and the 6? This here is a 5 or a 7, and I think we already established that 1, 4, 6 must go here. So a 3, 5, 7 here, here, and here. And are we getting closer to finding that now? This must be a 5 or a 7 because there's a 3 blocking. This is a 5 or a 7 because there's a 3 blocking. So we're looking at a 1, 6, 9, and the only square that can be a 3 is up here in the corner. Now a 5, 7 here and here. And here, of course, still. Let's see if that does anything to these 3 squares, which still must be a 3, 6, and a 7. And it does, because a 3 and a 6 block over here now. So here's a 7, and these must be a 3 and a 6. And these must be a 3, 6, and a 5. 5, of course, blocks up, so one of these is a 5. And over here we also have a 5 and we have a 9. And not to forget the 5 and 9 we have here. We have a 1, 8 here and a 1, 8 here, so 1 and 8 must go in 2 of these 3 squares. These are 5, 9. So 5, 9, 1, 8, what else is missing? A 6 and a 7. 7 must go here or here. 6, I don't really know, because it could go in any of these 3 positions. Where's the next number coming from? Oh, I know. And you know why I know? I know because I know where the 5 goes in row 9. See here, one of these is a 5. We got 5s blocking here. So one of these is a 5. Now where can we place a 5 in column 7? Only here. And that gives me a 9 here. And that gives me a 5 here and a 9 here. And that might even solve the puzzle now. We'll have to wait and see, because now this is a 5. We need a 1, 3, and an 8 for these squares. There's a 1 and an 8 blocking here, so this is a 3. And a 1 and an 8 now here. 8 and 9 here still. 3 and 6 here. We got the 3 blocking down here and the 3 blocking over here. So here's finally a 3. And since this 4 blocks here, and this 4 blocks here, and this 4 blocks here, we know that this must be a 4. This 4 blocks across, so does this, and these two 4s block up and down, here's a 4. 1, 6, 7 for these squares. We know that one of these is a 6, and here's a 7, so that this is now a 1, and these must be a 6 and a 7. Therefore, these must be a 1 and an 8. The 1 blocks up, giving me an 8 here and a 1 here. And here we need an 8. Which blocks across? This 8 blocks down, this blocks up, here's an 8. Therefore, we know that this is a 9, making this a 9, and this must be a 6. 6 blocks over. One of these is a 6 blocking over. This 6 blocks down. Here's a 6, and therefore we have a 7 here. We know that this was a 7, 5, and now it must be a 5, and this therefore a 7, and this a 5, because we have analyzed this already. This 7 forces 6 to go here and a 7 here. 5 blocks across and up. Here's a 5. 3 and a 6 here. 6 blocks up, forcing a 3 to go here and a 6 here. Giving me a 6 here and a 3 here. This square has got to be a 7. And these two must be a 1 and a 9. The 1 blocks over, therefore the 9 goes here and the 1 here. The last of the 1, 6, 9 is a 6. It must go here. And therefore we have a 9 here. And this must be a 5. Now a 7 and a 3 for these squares. The 7 forces a 3 to go here, and here's a 7. Not an easy puzzle today, but enjoyable, and finally somewhat of a challenge from websudoku.com. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.